here is the funerary inscription of Martyr al-Qais dated to AD 328, known as the Namāra Inscription. This has been described by scholars as the single most important, as well as the single most famous Arabic inscription from pre-Islamic times. It is also one of the earliest texts in the Arabic language and is considered an important source for the relationship between the Romans and the Arabs in that period. The Namāra inscription was discovered near the Roman outpost at Al-Namāra in 1901 by French Orientalists René Dussaud and Frederick Muckler during an exploration in the basalt steppe lands of southern Syria. Written in the Arabic language, using the Nabatean Aramaic script, the text is reasonably clear for modern scholars to decipher. Although some of the wording is closer to Aramaic, most of the text is very close to classical Arabic. But the inscription is not without obscurities pertaining to its historical content. Take a look at the first line, for example. The identity of Martyr al-Qais is disputed in regard to how his name is pronounced. According to Michael C.A. McDonald, quote, traditionally, this has been vocalized as Qais, like the name of the famous 6th century Arab poet. However, we have no evidence that the name had taken this form in Arabic at the time this text was carved, unquote. Similarly, McDonald mentions that even the person Martyr al-Qais remains a mystery. Although there is no evidence to corroborate, some believe him to be the second Lakamid king of Al-Hira. Also, the term king from the title king of all the Arabs might not have had the intended meaning of a royal rule over a kingdom. In accordance with late antiquity, king was the title of many Arab leaders, leading some to believe the term is better understood as an elite status. Even how we are to understand Arab in the inscription is likewise not without a debate. Michael J. Zwettler argues that king of all the Arabs is not referring to a people, but to places known from other inscriptions as the Arabs, located in the Jazira and other parts of northern Mesopotamia. Ahmad Al-Jallad is in disagreement with this conclusion, saying that Zwettler based his reading on a supposed grammatical incongruence. As claimed by Robert G. Hoyland, the declaration of Martyr al-Qais as king of all the Arabs in the Namāra inscription is him asserting his Arab identity. While Peter Webb believes that, quote, the inscription appears to be the first Arabic language reference to an individual calling himself an Arab, but drawing conclusions about 4th century Arab ethnogenesis from the Al-Namāra epitaph is difficult, since the interpretation of the king's titles is contested. Most scholars shy away from reading the inscription's Arabs as referring to a pan-Arabian community. Retzo notes the epithet king of all the Arabs was an old imperial Roman honorific granted to leaders on the Syrian-Arabian frontier, and by the 2nd century CE, perhaps specifically for rulers on the borders of Rome's Provincia Arabia. And the same honorific was used by Persians for their Bet Arbeyi, suggesting the term's origins in Hellenistic geographical notions of Arabia as a place, not a specific community or ethnos, unquote. You also have to wonder, if king of all the Arabs is a designation over all Arab people, why would the writer then specify only 3 tribes? Webb puts forth the idea that the declaration king of Ma'ad in line 3, in addition to king of all the Arabs in line 1, is an indicator that they were a separate sovereignty apart from each other, and that Ma'ad was not an entity who fell under the sovereignty of someone designated as king of all the Arabs. But that's another topic in and of itself. The location of where the inscription was found makes it likely that Martyr al-Qais was a Roman ally, but this may have only been towards the end of his life, for the inscription celebrates his achievements within the substructure of Roman and Persian power. On that note, check the references in the description for more details concerning this subject. Peace.